Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by Paychex, one of the leading providers of HR, payroll, retirement, and software solutions for businesses of all sizes. My name is Steve Boese. The troubling decline in men's labor force participation in the U.S. America's working-age men are employed at much lower rates than they used to be, and a combination of factors, from recessions to globalization to rising addiction rates, are all playing a role. In the early 1950s, as many as 96% of prime working-age American men who were between the ages of 25 and 54 were working full or part-time, per the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But as of March 2024, only about 86% of working-age men were employed, and this group's employment rate has lagged many developed countries in recent years. As such, many men are struggling to support themselves financially, and mental health experts say the longer people are out of the workforce, the higher the chances are they'll experience mental health challenges. Let's look at a few factors that could explain what's happening. It could be about recessions. Since the 1950s, whenever the U.S. economy fell into a recession, men's employment rates tended to suffer a long-lasting blow. When the economy entered a recession in 1953, the share of prime-age men with jobs dropped from 96% to about 93%, and never fully recovered to the pre-recession level per the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This pattern repeated in many of the recessions that followed. During the Great Recession of 2008, the prime-age male employment rate fell from 88% to 80%, and it hasn't reached above 86% since. The pandemic recession may prove to be an exception. After falling to as low as 78% in 2020, men's employment rate has nearly recovered to its pre-pandemic levels. Why have recessions appeared to have such a lasting impact on working men? Well, even when the economy recovers, some occupations don't reach prior employment levels or pay as well as they used to. And given that men have historically dominated the workforce, they've borne the brunt of these impacts. And the longer someone is out of the workforce, the more disconnected from the workforce they could become, research has found. Another factor are disabilities. Many men with disabilities aren't working at all. In 1960, roughly 455,000 workers collected Social Security disability benefits. In 2022, more than 7.6 million people, including about 1.3 million men between the ages of 25 and 54, collected disability benefits. Some of this can be attributed to a growing and aging population and an expansion of these benefits over time, but however, a challenging job market has also played a role. In 2023, about 44% of total women and men with a disability between the ages of 25 and 54 had a job, compared to roughly 83% of those without a disability, according to the BLS. In 2022, an analysis of census data by the San Francisco Fed said nearly 40% of prime working-age men cited disability or illness as the reason why they weren't working. And in more recent decades, addiction rates tied to the opioid epidemic have sidelined some men from the workforce. However, the rise of remote work and historically high job openings have helped more people with disabilities find employment. In 2023, nearly 23% of Americans with a disability were employed, and that's the largest share on record since data collection began in 2008. Some other reasons that could explain the decline of men in the workforce? Well, they include the rising share of men attending graduate school and more men working as stay-at-home dads or caring for elderly parents. Changing demand for jobs, driven in part by globalization and automation, has also hurt the job prospects of many men, particularly those employed in the manufacturing industry. More employers began seeking out candidates with higher levels of education, which has made it difficult for some men in the job market. What's more, men now account for fewer than half of college enrollees. Among Americans 25 and older, the unemployment rate of people with only a high school diploma is 3.9%, and that's compared to 2.2% whose highest educational attainment is a bachelor's degree. In recent years, some companies have become more open to hiring candidates who don't have a college degree, and there's also been a growth in industries that historically haven't required degrees, like manufacturing and food services. But finding a job without a degree and one that pays well can still be a challenge. Other under-the-radar factors that could be playing a role? Rising incarceration rates in recent decades could be making it difficult for some men to find work once they return to society. Incarcerated men aren't counted in government labor force statistics, but when they are released, their struggles to find work could depress the average male employment rate. In the past, many men opted for careers in the military, but there are fewer of those jobs than there used to be. In 1970, there were over 3 million full-time federal government military employees, and as of 2022, there were less than 1.5 million. And while the military is always actively seeking recruits, it appears to be a less attractive path nowadays for many men. All branches of the armed services have struggled recently to meet their recruitment goals. With so many factors at play, it's difficult to tease out which issues may affect the number of men in the workforce the most, and what kinds of policy decisions could reverse these trends. But these are trends worth watching. And we will continue to cover these important topics in the world of work here on the HR Happy Hour Media Network. That's it for the Workplace Minute, powered by H3 HR Advisors.